cookies, a dollar or a day old or whatever.
Okay.
There's the cookie for 50 cents, and the other is $1, which is cake or whatever.
Stones, I think.
Stones are 56, right? Oh no, 50 cents, and then cookies are 50 cents, and
Cookies are 50 cents, and I think everything else is $1. But I will make sure.
okay. I want to take a look. Yeah. There's the cake for $1. The muffins are what?
They're $1.
And the rolls? Cookies are 50. Okay. Cookies $1. Stones are $1 or 50. No, cookies are 50 cents. Stones 50. I'll take those. Take a cake.
Okay. Just one piece or two?
I'll take it one by one and let it digest. And if I'll
Okay.
wash it down.
Okay. Just no.
So silverware, I'll take the cake.
Okay. Here you go. There's that one. Here's your card, so I don't forget. You must go to all your Thank you, sir. All right.
Got ice water? Ice water?
Oh, you about to
Ice water?
Oh, yes. Thank you, sir.
or you have these people landing on the table, eating all the fruit. They're getting big. I've never seen a gnat fruit fly that big in my life. And then they're saying that was their pet. So, have a ceremony, lower the casket, open the casket on the water.
so much for your patience. I went up there to go get you stuff, and I got hit with a line, and then another line, and then another line. And so I was waiting and waiting. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll take this. Oh, I know. I intercepted her on my way out. Thank you.
Now, say that these witnesses already testified. So you don't need to hear from anybody. Their witnesses have already testified. And so that House doesn't get to all this is the Senate. That would be a crude trial because where the defendant is rich and powerful enough to say to the judge, hey judge, the prosecution got that witnesses on their jury. They don't get to cooperate here. They have their chance in the grand jury. They call witnesses in the grand jury. They don't get to call witnesses. That's not how it works. It's not how it should work. Of course, you heard the argument again, repeated time and time again. The House is saying they're not ready for trial. Of course, we never said we're ready for trial. We came here very prepared for trial. The president's team came here unprepared for trial. Unprepared for the fact that there would be, as we all anticipated, a Davy drill. We came here to try, we just prepared to try the case. And yes, I hope not used the perfect thing that we tried that case. Witnesses, and it's not a lack of preparation, it's the presence of sense. They didn't try to get a verdict. So they didn't even try to get it. Of course, he did it. Don't try to get it. And what he said when he was in jury is, when you're saying, I will sue you. He said, basically, what God did, I will sue you. Now, yes, presidents always agree about concerning, which is never succeeded in the case of Mary Myers, short shrift, the case of Buffy, where the judge said, no, we don't have the means in the 250 years of jurisprudence the president simply say, I advise you to absolutely the process. And of course, in every other non-impeachment context, the courts are of a Congress's power to enforce its against witnesses or documents, the courts have the power to compel compliance. So you would say find out whether the president is breaking the law, violating the Impound Control Act, how can we just make if we can't get answers, we can't legislate. It's a proposition we get by every state of when he knew information of direct relevance and consequence to the decision information about the present taxation safe or providing something to you completely different for you to understand this information. And you can ask me that question. Why are you willing to testify against this? You should ask me that question. He said it in
Yeah, I have one. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
you should structure. The house should have fought harder to overcome divorces. Shame on the house. Fight harder to overcome divorce. If only they had fought harder to overcome divorce. While they're still we should have tried hard. We should have taken the years necessary to overcome our story. And the reason why
I can't put the baby down, but
while they're in this house, terrible, slapdash, they should have fought harder, longer, endlessly, the house should have fought up and down the courts, just for bills to back again. There is a courthouse arguing opposite. In the courthouse saying, Judge, they're trying to enforce a subpoena on the gun again, throw it out. They don't have the jurisdiction, this is non-justiciable, you can't hear this case. That is really hard work. Making it the street. But that's the character of it. You should have fought harder to overcome personal life demonstration. Now, I also say Chief Justice cannot decide issues of privilege. Chief Justice can't make these decisions. That's pretty horrifying because the senator is allowed the presiding officer to make judgments on issues of evidence, materiality, and privilege. That is permitted by their own rules. You don't need to go up and down the courts with perfectly judge right here. Now you heard our proposal yesterday. We take a week, just a week, to depose the witnesses that we feel are relevant, that they feel are relevant, and press this our down. Just one week. Now they can say that the Constitution requires them to go to court, but of course it doesn't. There is absolutely no constitutional impediment to these fine laws saying, you know, it's will allow a Chief Justice of the United States of America whether a witness is material or immaterial, for purposes of probative evidence or veracity, and whether they can be a proper claim of privilege or merely trying to hide it.
It is. I know that you have well for some of those.
Justice of the United States to make those decisions in this court because he is empowered to do so by and by the Constitution, which is the sole power to drive nations in the sole exercise of the power to drive nations. You
health situation in China, but I want to emphasize that the risk to the American public currently is low. Our goal is to do all we can do to keep it there. Second, I want to recognize the concern that the American public may have. And I want to reiterate what I just said. Currently, the risk to the American public is low. As of today, there are nearly 9,600 cases in China. Additionally, currently there are another 23 countries that have confirmed totally 132 cases. This also includes 12 individuals who have been confirmed in 6 countries who did not travel to China. CDC has launched an aggressive public health response focused on early case recognition, isolation of those cases identified, and contact tracing around those individuals. This response is a layered response, which includes both targeted airport screening as well as heightened education and awareness of the American healthcare community to be vigilant in ascertaining the possibility of recent travel to China when they are evaluating patients with upper respiratory tract infections. To date, we have confirmed 6 cases of this novel virus in the United States. Most recent case had no travel history to China, but was a close personal contact of one of the previous cases that we had identified through our aggressive contact tracing. In addition, there are currently 191 individuals that are under investigation. Once again, I want to emphasize that this is a significant global situation and it continues to evolve. But I also want to emphasize again that the risk at this time to the American public is low.
Thank you, Dr. Redfield. I would now like to invite Dr. Anthony Fauci, the Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, to discuss the underlying rationale for the actions that I will be discussing after he concludes. Dr. Fauci.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Secretary. The concept that's underlying the action that you'll hear about shortly is the issue of the unknown aspects of this particular outbreak. So let me enumerate just a few of these. I can start off by putting it into perspective by telling you I often get asked, we have an influenza outbreak here. We have about 8,000 deaths already. We have about 100,000 hospitalizations. Why are we paying such attention? And why are we doing the kinds of things we're doing here right now? Well, the reason is, despite the morbidity and mortality of influenza, there's a certainty, for example, of seasonal flu. I can tell you all guaranteed that as we get into March and April, the flu cases will go down. You can predict pretty accurately what the range of mortality is in the hospitalizations as we go over the year. The issue now with this is that there's a lot of unknowns. As you can see just from the media, the number of cases have steeply inclined each and every day. You know that in the beginning, we were not sure if there were asymptomatic infection, which would make it a much broader outbreak than what we're seeing. Now we know for sure that there are. It was not clear whether an asymptomatic person had transmitted to someone while they were asymptomatic. Now we know from a recent report from Germany that that is absolutely the case. There are a number of countries outside of China that have travel-related cases, and now what we're seeing is that there are secondary cases from them. As Bob mentioned, we also have that in this country. The WHO has issued, as you know, a public health emergency and international concern declaration. If you put all of these things together, I underscore what Bob said, we still have a low risk to the American people, but we want to keep it at a low risk. And because there are so many unknowns here, we're going to take the action that the Secretary will describe in a temporary way to make sure we mitigate as best as we possibly can this risk.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Today, President Trump took decisive action to minimize the risk of the spread of novel coronavirus in the United States. Since taking office, President Trump has been clear. His top priority is the safety of the American people. In addition to the steps that the doctors have outlined, we continue to operationalize a multi-layered, cross-agency public health response. Following the World Health Organization's decision to declare the 2019 novel coronavirus a public health emergency of international concern, I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States. The actions we have taken and continue to take complement the work of China and the World Health Organization to contain the outbreak within China. In accordance with the declaration, beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, February the 2nd, the United States government will implement temporary measures to increase our abilities to detect and contain the coronavirus proactively and aggressively. Any U.S. citizen returning to the United States who has been in Hubei province in the previous 14 days will be subject to up to 14 days of mandatory quarantine to ensure they are provided proper medical care and health screening. To be clear, this applies only to U.S. citizens who have been in Hubei province in the past 14 days prior to their attempted entry into the United States. Any U.S. citizen returning to the United States who has been in the rest of mainland China within the previous 14 days will undergo proactive entry health screening and a select number of ports of entry and up to 14 days of monitored self-quarantine to ensure they've not contracted the virus and not posed a public health risk. Additionally, the President has signed a presidential proclamation using his authority pursuant to Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, temporarily suspending the entry into the United States of foreign nationals who pose a risk of transmitting the 2019 novel coronavirus. As a result, foreign nationals, other than immediate family of U.S. citizens and permanent residents who have traveled in China within the last 14 days, will be denied entry into the United States from this time. Once again, these actions will become effective at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, February 2nd. These prudent, targeted, and temporary actions will decrease the pressure on public health officials screening incoming travelers, expedite the processing of U.S. citizens and permanent residents returning from China, and ensure the sources are focused on the health and safety of the American people.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. We come before you bearing good news. For the first time in 4 years, life expectancy in the United States of America has increased. And for the first time in 29 years, the number of drug overdose deaths has decreased. This has not happened through coincidence, it's happened through causation. It's owing in large part to a whole-of-government approach to treat the whole person, led by President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and really the entire administration. Nearly 70,000 of our fellow Americans died from overdose last year, and 48,000 of those involved. About 70% of those deaths also involved some type of synthetic opioid, most prominently fentanyl, which could be an instant kill, a couple of tiny grains from a full dose. We met with first responders, parents who lost children, people in recovery.
So I thought it was a lot of sadness. I thought, oh, see if she's feeling any better today.
Justice to make those decisions. Now, Mr. Singh, Sam, you've heard the testimony of 13 witnesses.
Mr. Chief Justice,
It's a cleaner. Right.
I have a question to present to the desk for the House Managership and for the President's
Just
Council.
like this. Okay, I don't want it. I don't want it. That's true. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'll let you guys finish your lunch.
Break the tie. There's nothing in the Constitution that says he can't, but the long-held expectation is he will not, and essentially the vote will fail. However, Republicans are trying to figure out here what Chief Justice Roberts could actually do, and I think part of the reason for the discussion today, I was told, is in an effort to keep it from being 50-50, right? They know that there are at least two Republicans that are on the fence here. There's Senator Lamar Alexander and Senator Stacey both have signaled openness to a decision and haven't made a final decision yet. And this would be a lot easier for them to not have to even get to that point. So having a discussion about the possibilities and the dynamics.
Another form of lobbying or arm twisting.
Yes. Was essentially was how it was kind of explained to me. And I think there are a lot of questions.
I mean, I don't know. My sense is that, tell me if you're wrong, some Republicans up here that I don't know that is going to be the argument today. You know, be with us because we don't know what will happen on 50-50.
No, there is a litany of arguments that the majority leader in the White House has laid out. I think some are extremely effective, whether it's an elongated trial, whether it's setting precedent for future impeachments or precedent for future executive privilege. I think the politics here are very important. You've seen Republican 2020ers that have basic concerns about if this goes further, this is problematic for me. That I think resonates a lot more than maybe people understand. The tie-breaking thing I don't think is going to be a clincher for anything, but I do think it's another data point that people should.
So while we're talking about these Republicans, let's talk about Lamar Alexander, because as you mentioned, the three other Republicans that everybody is watching, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, and Susan Collins, or Mitt Romney and Susan Collins, certainly the Republican leadership thinks they're going to vote yes on witnesses. Murkowski is a little bit more iffy, but Lamar Alexander would be a vote if he were a yes. That would make the 50-50 question, because it would mean 51 would vote yes. What are you hearing about, from your Republican sources, about where he is? My understanding is that he's keeping his counsel, very, very close counsel, but his colleagues think that he's going to vote with them and with the president.
They think he'll be there at the end, and keep in mind, the context here is he's very close to Senate Majority Leader McConnell. McConnell calls him his best friend in the United States Senate. He often serves as the middleman between Democrats and Republicans. Don't always have the best relationship. But to your point, he's kept his cards very close. Even his staff, I don't think, has an idea of where he's going to go with this right now. It's vintage Lamar Alexander. Lamar Alexander keeps his own counsel. He's not the boys' guy in the lunches on the floor, any of that type of stuff. And so I think the real question here, the Republicans have, they think he's going to be with them. We've talked to Republicans all day. They're very confident right now. I think they're on the right track to be able to block the witness vote. But nobody really knows. So that's just a little bit of a wild card that's hanging out there.
Well, thank you so much. Jake, and we'll back to you.
Thank you very much, Dana. And Phil,
well, I agree with everything that John and Jeff were saying before, and I think what we're really seeing is Democrats making the argument to the American public that if they lose, that this trial was unfair. And Adam Schiff started out with this, and also making the case to the American public that if we lose, you have fundamentally changed the presidency and the country. And you have to really think about the larger picture here.
You're specifically talking about witnesses, not on removal.
Specifically talking about witnesses, but also, the case that was made that the president can do anything, that Alan Dershowitz made yesterday, the president can do anything, that he believes in his own interest, because that is equivalent to the national interest, for example. And Schiff said that was a descent into constitutional madness. And then I was just going to say that Dershowitz was off the playing field, and that they were reminding the American public over and over and over again, you can always call John Bolton if you want the answer to these questions about motive, for example. You can always call John Bolton. And on the other side, the president's lawyers, I think more and more, were making the case that actually this isn't any kind of a cover-up or unfair trial. What you are conducting is an effort to undo an election. So today seemed to me to be more of a day, in a way, for political arguments rather than legal arguments. We heard the old legal arguments we heard yesterday, but it seemed to descend more into the politics of a lot of this, particularly, as Jeff mentioned, Eric Hirschman, who I thought might have been asking for a job in the administration at some point.
Very political.
Very political, saying, why don't you just like Donald Trump? You know, he's building his wall, and maybe if the House members stop opposing him and harassing him, he said, maybe we could get more done. Join us. And where does that come in to this debate, this constitutional debate?
The question had been that the House impeachment managers they're basically making an argument that the nation needs to be protected from President Trump. So first we came in to say, protected from President Trump. Look at all the wonderful things he's doing.
Endorse him. And so one is saying, look, this is purely political, and the others are saying, how dare you? This is constitutional. This is not political. This is about the future of the presidency and checks and balances. What is the role of Congress here in terms of oversight, subpoenas, and on and on? So it was a very interesting, a little bit of a different kind of debate.
And I just in some ways, even though I imagine that the Democrats know that they're obviously not going to get a convention and likely won't get witnesses, you can still see them trying to talk to some of those senators about these big picture issues, right? Collins, I think, had a question at the end where she was asking whether or not there are any circumstances where it's legitimate for a president to ask a foreign leader to investigate a private citizen. And comeback, I think it was from Othello, it was kind of a squishy answer. He said essentially that's not even what the president was doing, right? He actually wasn't asking them to investigate by saying that the president can do that if they're asking for an investigation into a private citizen. Breaking the laws of that country just sounds like a bit of a muddle. Impeachment trials. The Senate has called multiple
credible witnesses. Today we ask you to follow this body's uniform precedents and your common sense. We urge you to vote in favor of subpoenaing witnesses and documents. Now I'd like to address one question at the outset. There has been much back and forth about whether if the House believes it has sufficient evidence to convict, which we do, why do we need more witnesses and documents? So I'd like to be clear. The evidence presented over the past week and a half strongly supports a vote to convict the president. The evidence is overwhelming. We have a mountain of evidence. It's direct, it's corroborated by multiple sources, and it proves that the president committed grave, impeachable offenses to cheat in the next election. The evidence confirms that if left in office, President Trump will continue to harm our America's national security. He will continue to seek to corrupt the upcoming election, and he will undermine our democracy, all to further his own personal gain. But this is a fundamental question that must be addressed. Is this a fair trial? Is this a fair trial? Is this a fair trial? Without the ability to call witnesses and produce documents, the answer is clearly and unequivocally no. It was the president's decision to contest the facts, and that is his right. But because he has chosen to contest the facts, he should not be heard to complain. He should not be heard to complain that the House wishes to further prove his guilt to answer the questions he would raise. He complains that few witnesses spoke directly to the president about his misconduct beyond his standing conversations with Sondland and Mulvaney. Okay, let's hear from others then. The witnesses the House wishes to call directly to the president's own words, his own admissions of guilt, his own confessions of responsibility. If they did not, all the president's men would be on their witness list, not ours. These witnesses and the documents their agencies produce tell the full story. And I believe that we are interested in hearing the full story. You should want to hear it. More than that, the American people, we know they want to hear it. The House Republicans, all expert witness in the House, Professor Turley, said if you could prove the president used our military aid to pressure Ukraine to investigate a political rival and interfere in our elections, it would be an impeachable abuse of power. And Senator Graham, too, recognized that if such evidence existed, it could potentially change his mind on impeachment. Well, we now have another witness, a fact witness, who would reportedly say exactly that. Ambassador Bolton's new manuscript, which we will discuss in more detail in a moment, reportedly confirms that the president told him in no uncertain terms, talking about the former national security advisor, saying the president told him in no uncertain terms, no aid until investigations, including the Bidens. For a week and a half, the president has said no such evidence exists. They are wrong. But if you have any doubt about the evidence, the evidence is at your fingertips. The question is, will you let all of us evidence and make up their own minds, and you can make up your own minds, but will we let the American people hear all of the evidence? You recall that Ambassador Bolton, the President's former National Security Advisor, is one of the witnesses we asked for last Tuesday. We did not know at the time what he'd say. We didn't know what kind of witness that he would be, but Ambassador Bolton made clear that he was willing to testify and that he had relevant first-hand knowledge that hadn't yet been heard. We argued that we all deserved to hear that evidence, but the President opposed him. Now we know why. Because John Bolton could corroborate the rest of our evidence and confirm the President's guilt. So today, Senators, we come before you and we argue again that you let this witness and the other 3 witnesses we have identified come forward, so you have all of the information available to you when you make this consequential decision. If witnesses are not called here, these proceedings will be a trial in name only. And the American people clearly know a fair trial when they see one. Large majorities of the American people want to hear from witnesses in this trial. And they have a right to hear from witnesses in this trial. Let's hear from them. Let's look them in the eye, gauge their credibility, and hear what they have to say about the President's actions. For the same reasons, this body should grant our request to subpoena documents. The documents that the President also brought the House from obtaining. Documents from the White House, the State Department, DOD, and OLYMPIA that will complete the story and provide the whole truth, whatever they may be. We ask that you subpoena these documents so that you can decide for yourself. If you have any doubt as to what occurred, let's look at this additional evidence. To be clear, we're not asking you to track down every single document or to call every possible witness. We have carefully identified only 4 key witnesses with direct knowledge who can speak to the specific issues that the President has disputed. And we targeted key documents, which we understand have already been collected. For example, in the State Department, they've already been collected. This will not cause a substantial delay. As I made clear last night, these matters can be addressed in a single meeting. As we made clear last night, these matters can be addressed in a single meeting. We know that from President Clinton's case. There, the Senate voted to approve a motion on January 27th. The next day, it established procedures for those depositions and adjourned as a court of impeachment until February 4th. In that brief period, the parties took 3 depositions. The Senate then resumed its proceedings by voting to accept the deposition testimony into the record. In this trial, too, let's do the same. We should take a brief 1-week break for witness testimony and document collection, during which time the Senate can return to its normal business. The trial should not be allowed to be different from every other impeachment trial or any other kind of trial, simply because the President doesn't want us to know the truth. The American people that we all represent, the American people that we all love and care about, deserve to know the truth. And a fair trial requires it. This is too important of a decision to be made without all of the relevant evidence. Before turning to the specific need do so in a manner.
Mr. Chief Justice, here from Kentucky. I have a question to present to the desk for the House Manager Schiff and for the President's Counsel.
I based it on 8 hours today with George, which he said he was going to do. So I got it all done except for the withholding taxes because everything's changed as far as profit. He was trying to get that figured out. So he finally got that figured out last night. So I got the check over. Now George left today at 1 o'clock. So now we've got 4 hours. Well, I saw you had it open there.
Good morning. I'm honored to welcome each of you here today to the White House Summit on Human Trafficking, honoring the 20th anniversary of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. On behalf of the President, thank you for joining me to celebrate this milestone and to recognize the incredible work that has been done across this country to tackle modern-day slavery and pursue justice for victims. Thank you to Attorney General Barr, Secretary Scalia, Secretary Azar, Acting Secretary Wolf, Deputy Secretary BENZEL for all being here today. Under your leadership and in coordination with the whole of government, the United States is committed to ending human trafficking in all of its grotesque and horrible forms. I'm also grateful to be joined by so many members of Congress and special guests, including Congressman Smith, Congresswoman Wagner. Please stand. Congressman McCall, Ambassador at Large, Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Back. And U.S. Ambassador to the OSCE, Mr. Further among us, and I'd love you all to stand as well, are members of the U.S. Advisory Council on Human Trafficking, the President's Public-Private Partnership Advisory Council to End Human Trafficking, as well as recipients of the Presidential Award for Extraordinary Efforts to Combat Trafficking in Persons. Thank you. Each of you possess a wealth of knowledge and action-oriented approach that are invaluable resources in this fight against this crime and as we seek survivors. Human trafficking is believed to be one of the largest criminal activities in the world, with an estimated 24.9 million people trapped in forced labor, domestic servitude, or commercial sex trafficking. It is also, sadly, one of the most lucrative illegal industries worldwide, generating over $150 billion in annual profit. This issue has no demographic limitations and exploits society's most vulnerable, often women and children, and particularly targets runaway and homeless youth. In 1983, Robert Fuller and Louis Maltera's, two middle-aged men, both born with intellectual disabilities, were discovered working on a dairy farm in Chelsea, Michigan. Isolated from the world, these two men were working 17-hour days with no pay and living in squalor. They were hidden in plain sight. The ruling of United States versus Cumbency, as Robert and Lewis's case would come to be known, recognized that the U.S. involuntary servitude and slavery statutes were not sufficient in their scope, lacking necessary provisions to guarantee protections for these men and so many others. This case spurred what would become a national outcry for legislation to address both cases. In 2000, Congress responded. Under the leadership of former Senator Sam Brownback and Representative Chris Smith, who you'll hear from shortly, Congress passed the monumental bipartisan Trafficking Victims Protection Act. This landmark piece of legislation changed the landscape of conversation around human trafficking and elevated the U.S. government's capabilities to combat this evil. The TVPA created a number of protections for victims, ensuring that they had access to necessary services. It also sharpened prosecution capabilities, criminalizing a broader scope of human trafficking-related crimes and requiring convicted traffickers to provide full restitution to their victims. The TVPA enhanced prevention efforts as well, creating for the first time in U.S. history an office to monitor and combat trafficking for persons known as SINGH. The TIP office, currently led by Ambassador-at-Large John Richmond, is tasked with producing the annual Trafficking in Person report that serves as our key diplomatic tool to engage foreign governments on tackling this issue collectively. It goes without saying that the guests in this room at the TVPA ushered in a new era of trafficking. Over the past 20 years, this legislation has shaped how our country pursues justice for victims, holds traffickers accountable, and prevents further cases of trafficking. So that brings us today. Much progress has been made, but we recognize that this issue is still, unfortunately, so pervasive in our communities and across the world. In the early days of this administration, President Trump committed to bringing the full force and weight of the U.S. government to tackle this horrific problem. Since then, I am proud to have helped him deliver on this promise, signing 9 pieces of legislation into law that directly address human trafficking. And we're just getting started. These bills, amongst other things, expanded on the provisions of the TVPA of 2000 to include required law enforcement victim training and HHS grants authority for academic institutions to educate teachers and students of signs of sex and labor trafficking, and so much more. In 2017, President Trump signed an executive order to dismantle transnational criminal organizations, including those trafficking human beings. This action elevated human trafficking as a national security issue, as traffickers profit, enrich their organizations at the expense of human lives. Further, the President has prioritized funding for anti-trafficking, proposing a $42 million budget increase for 2021 that will enhance human trafficking investigations, prosecutions, and victim services. We are resolved and we are relentless in the fight to hold perpetrators accountable and restore human dignity for victims. This administration has fought and will continue to fight this crime and ensure that survivors can access the services they need. Human trafficking is not solely an international international issue or a crime that must occur across borders. Human beings are being sold right here in America, in our own backyards and in our own communities, in neighborhoods across this country, in rural and urban communities, as well as tribal areas. We cannot turn a blind eye to trafficking that happens at home, and we cannot tolerate the exploitation of our own citizens. The prevalence of domestic trafficking was brought to a new leg for me on a recent visit to Atlanta. Facing one of the nation's highest rates of human trafficking, the city of Atlanta has taken extra toll to equip survivors with ultimate care and skills they need to succeed as they to rebuild their lives. One of those facilities leading this effort in Atlanta is Wellspring, a nonprofit providing a path forward to survivors of domestic sex trafficking. Wellspring's motto is to live and dream again, a beautiful testament to what I witnessed that day. I met incredible, courageous women at Wellspring Women's Academy, which is dedicated to helping survivors attain skills for their children, apprenticeship, and future career. A few of those ladies join us here today, including Jessica. Jessica's story is one of remarkable transformation. Jessica shared with me a very personal, heartbreaking experience of being trafficked for sex domestically after surviving childhood abuse, losing custody of her children, and facing serious challenges with drug addiction herself. Despite all this, Jessica recently completed her apprenticeship at Delta Airlines, regained custody of her beautiful, sweet daughter, who I had the honor of meeting that day in Atlanta, and now works full-time for the city. Her resilience is inspiring, and I'd be honored if Jessica would come up and say just a few words.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Hamlin, and I am a resilient and creative woman who is here to share a story. My life started out looking very hopeful. Actually, I was born into a situation that set me up for failure. At the age of 8, I was introduced to drugs, and it was exploited at the age of 12. For years, I found myself in the middle of violence and also addiction. A constant nightmare of having to do things that no human being should be forced to do or made to do. I thought this was just the way that life was supposed to be. Until about 5 years ago, I met a woman named Tammy, a Delta flight attendant, who has worked with women inside the jail where I was incarcerated. Tammy realized I was a victim and not a criminal, but I was facing 25 years in prison. And after 2 years of fighting for me, the judge, as well as the statewide prosecutor, was able to say that they agreed to send me to a program so that I could have a chance at life. A constant nightmare of having to do these things had me feeling as if I was never going to have a chance at life. I couldn't believe that Wellspring was going to be able to accept me after doing an interview with them. We applied and I got in. I think I cried the whole day. I couldn't believe there was a way out and there could be hope for me. Getting into Wellspring was easy, staying was hard. I packed my bags about 7 different times and said I couldn't do this, or maybe I should just go. But I didn't. I didn't leave at all. My program coordinator, Andrea Hiplow, and the people there loved and accepted me in such a way that I thought I was being set up. I didn't even know what love looked like. I thought it couldn't be real, but it was. They helped me work through my trauma. I got my GED, and they as well prepared me for getting a job, and not just a job, but a career. As well as getting a paid apprenticeship, and then they wouldn't believe, or you guys wouldn't believe, I got an apprenticeship with Delta Airlines. My first day at Delta, there was flowers in a cup, and it said, "Welcome aboard, Jessica. Welcome to the team." I felt like I was at home. I felt like I had family that knew how to love me and wanted to see me successful. I even got to eat lunch with the Vice President of Delta in-flight services, Allison Osborne. Thank you, Allison. When my apprenticeship was complete, I got a job at the City of Atlanta watershed, and I absolutely love where I'm at today. I'm in my own apartment, and I'm also with 3 of my children, and I'm doing very hard work. That hard work consists of basketball practice, football practice, lots of homework. There's lots of challenges, but I also have all of my children in counseling, and we do lots of therapy. It is still.
Somebody's looked at it and diagnosed.
Yeah, she said it's a 6.
It's probably just a short stay, maybe a couple hours. We'll be here. Yeah. You know, this is my experience. I have a lot more than you guys
Okay, let's get back to work. Come on. I love that song, but every once in a while we have to get back to work. So I am very honored to be at Dana Incorporated, a tremendous company, a plant in Warren, Michigan. We're very proud of Michigan. Dana's been around. I also like it because we happened to win here, so I was very happy. Very happy with that. But you've been around 116 years of brilliant American craftsmanship, and that's what it is. I just took a tour with some of your leadership, some of your great people, some of the workers that do such an incredible job, and it's unbelievable to see what you do. I will say that we just ended a nightmare known as NAFTA. They took our jobs for a long time. They took it for a long time, and we now have a brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. It's a whole different ballgame, and it's going to be great for this plant. It's going to be incredible for Michigan and for every place else in our country. The USMCA is the fairest, most balanced, and beneficial trade agreement we have ever signed into law. It's the best agreement we've ever made, and we have others coming. And by the way, the China deal 2 weeks ago was just signed. And that's going to bring $250 billion into our country. One after another. But we're bringing you jobs back to America. Jobs are coming back, and they're coming back fast, and they're coming right here to Michigan. They are coming rapidly. You see what's going on. We're very grateful to be joined with some special people came today. Ambassador Robert Lighthizer, where's Bob? What a job you've done. What a job. He did this deal, he did China, he did Japan, they all worked together. But fantastic job. He worked night and day to complete this outstanding agreement. And Bob, I just want to tell you on behalf of our country, we thank you very much. Thank you very much. And with us also, we have some of our people that have been just incredible. They're warriors. I call them warriors. We won 196-0 on a little vote a couple of weeks ago. You know, you do all these great deals. Everybody says, thank you, sir. This has never happened. Everybody said it's impossible to do. It'll never take place. Trade deals like this. And then we've built our military. We've cut taxes. We've taken care of regulations, cut more than any other president in the history of our country. And we did that in 3 years instead of 8 years, or in one case more. And we protect our Second Amendment. We protect our Second Amendment. done all these things, and remember the tax cut was the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And what do? They impeach you. Explain that one. But we have great Republicans out there, and they don't like it. They've been in a partisan situation, a disgrace. It's frankly a disgrace to our country. But there has been no administration has done what we've done in the first 3 years of an administration. No administration, and we're very proud. But I want to thank Tim Wahlberg. Where are you guys? Here someplace. Tim, fantastic job. Bill Heisinger, John Molinar, Jack Bergman, Jack. Thank you, Jack. And Paul Mitchell, thank you very much, Paul. These are your congressmen. They've been fantastic. You have a lot of your other leaders here and leaders in Michigan. These are members of our incredible representative house, and I want to say that, I use the term warrior very, very, not easily. They are warriors. We've got a lot of warriors. When you say, I'd say we had 196 warriors. And we had a 0, so 196 to none. And we actually had 3 Democrats join them. It was pretty good, wasn't it? One actually left the party and joined the Republican Party. Jeff Van Drew. But I said to them, I know you have a wonderful Iraqi Christian community in Michigan. You know about that? You know about that? I hear they're wonderful. And the congressmen were telling me on the plane how rough it's been for them. It's been a very tough time for a lot of Christians all over the world. All over the world, it's been very tough. The Chaldeans, you know the Chaldeans, right? We have some Chaldeans that are working here. And we talked about it long and hard on the flight in. And we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to keep people who have been good to this country out of harm's way. And when I get back, we're going to give those who need it an extension to stay in our country. And so we're going to be extending them. And a lot of people in Michigan have been asking for that. So we'll work with that when we get back to your great congressman. Thank you very much. Michigan is a steward of one of our nation's most treasured resources, the incredible Great Lakes. Anybody hear the Great Lakes, huh? And I told the members who are here with me that we are going to work together to protect the Great Lakes from Asian carp. Who would have thought that was going to happen? And other invasive species, and it really has become a big problem. And we're working on it very strongly. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers already has a plan, and we are going to get this done and ready to go. It's going to be very quick. Very quick. It's not easy, but we have all of the top technology. We're going to take care of it, just like I made the promise, and that promise where so much has already been done. I also made a promise to you not so long ago, right here in Michigan, and it had to do with sulaks. So I came here, I heard about the problem. They had been working on the problem since 1980. 1980, nothing was done. It was rotting away. The locks were rotting away. It was all talk and no action, and I was being told it's never going to happen, sir. Too much money, it's just not going to happen. And they all said, leave it to the next president to do. But I said, but I am the next president. It's a big deal. And now, as your congressman can tell you, and they work so hard on it, all of the funding has been fully approved, right? Fully. Good. I signed. You think it's easy getting $922 million out of Congress? Not easy. This had to be done. You know, we're talking about 11 million jobs indirectly all over. Those locks serve 11 million jobs. Some people think as many as 18 million jobs. So sulaks, we're going to be starting that in a matter of a couple of months. And we're going to have it all set. We got our maximum funding. We have the maximum design. And it's going to be good for another 100 years, they say. So we're going to get it done. Okay? Also, I know everybody here in Michigan supports our great armed forces as much as any place in Michigan. And that's why we're giving strong consideration to deploying some of our mighty F-35s to Selfridge Air National Guard. And you know what that means, right? You know what that means. That's a big deal. So Selfridge, you're going to see a lot of very fast planes. Actually, they're totally stealth, so maybe you won't see them coming. Okay, you won't see them coming, but they're coming in. These members and your congressmen, your congressmen as members have worked so hard for the state. They support all of the great jobs here at Dana. Dana Incorporated employs more than 1,500 people, and it's having one of the best years they've ever had. And the hard-working men and women right here in Warren make the axles, drive shafts, and assemblies of some of the world's toughest vehicles. And proudly they bear that glorious phrase, and I like that when they put it on, a few years ago they weren't using that phrase very much anymore. It's called Made in the USA. Made in the USA. So to the workers of Dana who helped invent.
Well, thank you very much. Such beautiful music, such talented musicians, and we appreciate it very much. We have a tremendous list of people here today. In fact, so long that if I announced every name, we'd be here for about 3 hours. And we have to get back to business. Everybody does. Please sit down, please. But I want to thank everybody for coming to the White House on this very momentous, historic, and joyous occasion. It's been a long time. Everybody said this was a deal that could not be done. Too complicated, too big, couldn't be done. We got it done. And today we're finally ending the NAFTA nightmare and signing into law the brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. Very special. Very, very special. The USMCA is the largest, fairest, most balanced, and modern trade agreement ever achieved. There's never been anything like it. Other countries are now looking at it, but there can't be a border like that because, believe it or not, that is by far the biggest border anywhere in the world in terms of economy, in terms of people. There's nothing even close. This is a colossal victory for our farmers, ranchers, energy workers, factory workers, and American workers in all 50 states, and you could almost say beyond, because it's all beyond. This is all over the world, even though it's at one beautiful border. Where, by the way, a very major, powerful wall is right now being built. Okay, I don't know if I should say that in this particular reading. I know last night it got a very big hand. Today they're a little bit like, are we supposed to clap now? The USMCA is estimated to add another 1.2% to our GDP and create countless new American jobs. It will make our blue-collar boom, which is beyond anybody's expectation, even bigger, stronger, and more extraordinary, delivering massive gains for the loyal citizens of our nation. For the first time in American history, we have replaced a disastrous trade deal that rewarded outsourcing with a truly fair and reciprocal trade deal that will keep jobs, wealth, and growth right here in America. And in a true sense, it's also a partnership with Mexico and Canada and ourselves against the world. It's really a trade partnership if you look at it that way. And it's a day of great celebration in all three countries. I want to thank our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, who helped us so much with the deal. And our sincerest appreciation to Ambassador Robert Lighthizer, Jared Kushner, and Steve Mnuchin, and all of these incredible people for the job you've done. Like I said, they said it couldn't be done. Welcome also to many members of Congress who were key to getting the deal done, including Senator Grassley. Where's Chuck? Where's Chuck? Oh, he was brutal. He would call me he would say, how is it going? How is it going? And with Chuck, you just don't mess around. You said, we'll get it done. Don't worry. Thank you, Senator, very much. And Pat Roberts, Martha McSally. And I want to just, if I could, mention, because we do have some incredible people that work so hard, and senators. And maybe I'm being just nice to them because I want their vote. Does that make sense? I don't want to leave anybody out. Hey, Congressman, I already got your vote, 196 to nothing. The hell with you. I think I have to mention some senators that are here. But Marcia Blackburn, who's been so, where's Marcia Blackburn? Marcia, great. Marcia Blackburn, great state of Tennessee. Roy Blunt, thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy. John Bozeman, thank you, John. Thank you very much. Great job. Mike Braun, he's become a big fixture on television and doing a great job. Shelley Moore Capito, thank you. West Virginia, great place. Senator Bill Cassidy. Senator, thank you very much. John Cornyn, thank you, John. Your poll numbers are looking good, John. Very, very good. You don't have to worry about Beto either, do you, John? A great young gentleman, and he's been with us right from the beginning, Senator Tom Cotton. Where's Tom? Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Kevin Kramer. Thank you, Kevin. Ted Cruz, boy, has he been, where is Ted? Boy, oh boy, and he's dying to get back there and ask those questions, I know. And he said, let me out of here, President, I want to ask those questions. He's got some beauties, I'll bet. Thank you, Ted, for everything. You've been incredible. Steve Daines, my friend from the beginning. Thank you, Steve. Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst. That was a team, the tag team with Chuck Grassley and Joni Ernst. It was impossible. I just say, just tell them I'm not in, please. Senator Deb Fisher. Terrific person. Terrific person. Lindsey Graham. Where's Lindsey? He may be having a news conference right now. He's working on something. He said, I'm going over to a news conference. I said, you know what? I'd rather have you at the news conference. Don't worry. We'll take care of it. A young, brilliant guy who's done incredibly well and respected by everybody, Senator Josh Hawley. Josh, I think he's another one. He doesn't want to come over here right now. Where's John Hoven? John, you've been so great. Thank you, John. John Hoven. Senator James Lankford. He is a terrific person. We're just together on a very special day, right, James? Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, congratulations, Kelly. Really great. They already like you a lot. That's what the word is. Thank you, Kelly. Martha McSally. Good, Martha. Great. Jerry Moran. Jerry, thank you, Jerry. Did a great job in a lot of different ways. And another one is James Risch. James, fantastic job you do. And Mike Rounds, where's Mike? Mike, thank you. He's always there, Mike, he's fantastic. Tim Scott, Mr. Opportunity Zone, and I think he's over there fighting. He's saying, just read the transcripts, that's what he's saying. He's great. Tom Tillis, who's doing pretty well, is what I'm understanding. Tom Tillis, where's Tom? Yup. And Roger Wicker. By the way, is there anybody, thank you, Roger. Roger, is there anybody I didn't introduce? I would like to apologize immediately. Where's Rick? Where's Rick? He's been one of the greats. Oh, I figured he was over there. Rick, why are you not over there, Rick? Rick Scott has been so incredible. Great governor of Florida, a great, great governor. Now he's a great senator. Thank you very much. The rest of you, I don't have to bother. I'm sorry. You know the way it works in life, right? Right, Ivanka? That's the way it works in life. I'm trying to teach here, but you could actually teach me. Well, I want to really thank all of those people, and also with us is Kevin McCarthy and Kevin Brady and Mike Conaway and Vern Buchanan and Steve Scalise. They've been incredible from day one, and literally 100 other wonderful congressmen and women, and we appreciate you being here. And Kevin, congratulations on your big victory yesterday. That was incredible. And he's also a tremendous fundraiser. Not that that matters. We don't even think about that. But that was a big victory you had yesterday. Thank you very much. Also here are many of the state and local leaders, including a really good friend of mine, somebody that is going to get that pipeline through and approved and finished. Pete Ricketts from Nebraska. Where's Pete? Pete, thank you very much. And a special man and a very popular governor and a very capable governor has done an incredible job, and he's been a tremendous supporter of all of us. Greg Abbott of Texas. Thank you, Greg. Great job. Great job, you know. We're very grateful for the close partnership and cooperation with Prime Minister Trudeau and for our incredible friendship and the relationship that we've developed with President Lopez Obrador. We're honored to be joined by Acting Ambassador Hillman from Canada, Ambassador Barcena of Mexico, Mexican Undersecretary Seade, Mexican Minister of Economy Marquez, and Mexican Foreign Minister Ebrard. They were really great people. We got to know them very well. This was a long negotiation, complex. Spent a lot of time with them. Thank you very much for being here. And I want to say that I have our great cabinet right up here, but I'm not sure. And the iconic U.S. Army Jeep, still doing incredibly well. Actually having a record year. Jeep is having a record year, and you have so much to do with it. It's an honor to be here. We're seeing the beginning of a very powerful, important plan. And anybody that followed my campaign, I would always talk about Apple, that I want to see Apple building plants in the United States. And that's what's happening and happening. Tim Cook is somebody that I greatly respect, a great leader, a great businessman. And it's a very special day. For me, this is a very special day. Our country is doing well, probably better than ever before. Standpoint of the economy, and we're in a state that I love, Texas, and Tim has a couple of things to say, not only about this incredible product that is made right here, very, very good product, but also about their expansion from this point forward. We've already done it up to here, but from this point forward, and the nice part, you just have to worry about tariffs, because when you build in the United States, you don't have to worry about tariffs. It sort of helps people make a decision to come in. But he's a very special person as far as this country is concerned because of the great job potential and the great job that he's done. Apple is the first $1 trillion company, and that was about a year ago. Now it's about $1.3 trillion, I think you said. But Apple is doing fantastically well, so we're honored that you're doing what you're doing. We're honored to be here with you on this special occasion, and we'll be back. We'll be back. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming and joining us. President Trump, Secretary Mnuchin, and Ivanka, and the other members of the administration. I'm grateful for their support in pulling today off and getting us to this far. It would not be possible Mac Pro. It's 15,000 times more powerful than the original Mac. It can perform 56 trillion tasks per second. That's 56 trillion tasks per second. It's absolutely global. We could not be more proud of the product. It's an example of American design, American manufacturing, and American ingenuity. We want to thank everybody for coming, and I turn it back to, one other thing. This morning we also announced a $1 billion investment, groundbreaking. Rebecca was there with me for this, for a 3 million square foot site in Austin, about 10 minutes or so away from here. So we view Austin as a very key place for the future of our company. It's the second largest site in the world for us, next to our home base in Virginia. So I'm hoping for obviously more investments to come. Thank you very much.
So Jim was saying just a while ago that he's starting this massive new development also in Texas, Austin. But he's also said something to me about the American economy, because he said, all over the world. I would say there's probably nobody that's more over the world than Apple. And what would you say about our economy compared to everybody?
I think we have the strongest economy in the world.
Strongest in the world. Congressman, please come over with our great congressman. And it's great to have you. I just see you in the audience here. Thank you, Mr. President. So, if anyone has any questions, go ahead. Steve, go ahead.
Thank you for Ambassador Sondland's testimony.
Well, I think it was fantastic. I think they have to end it now. He said there was no quid pro quo. The president did absolutely nothing wrong. You look at it, I guess you've seen me. I took down exactly what he said. He called and he said, he asked me what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, as you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what does the President want? I want nothing. Okay? I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty stands up and he tells lies all day long, and even with that. So we have no due process. We can't have anything. And yet, not only did we win today, it's over. And some of the fair press, of which there isn't too much, said this thing is over. So, the President of the United States told this guy, there's no, the question I ask, and it's the same question that a number of the congressmen have asked, why didn't he put this statement into his opening remarks? It's the most important statement there are. For this country, for our country, to be playing this, we're opening up massive Apple plants. We have the greatest economy in the world. We have the greatest economy that we've ever had in the history of our country. We have the best unemployment numbers that we've ever had. But we have a fake press. We have a phony press. We don't have freedom of the press in this country. We have a phony press. They're dishonest, most of them. We have some fine people, fine journalists and reporters and companies, but most of them are fake and phony. CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, the Washington Post, New York Times, these are fake papers, they're fake press. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and they hurt our country. And to be honest with you, I think it's a great tribute to all of those people in swing states and all of those people in this country. We had an electoral college, as you know, Congressman, we had a landslide, 306 to 223. We had a landslide. And they're trying to take it away because they can't do it fairly. But these are bad people. Nancy Pelosi is incompetent. She's gotten nothing done in Congress, and now with their big star witness, this was going to be their star witness. And just so you know, I don't know him very well. The guy that got put there, he wasn't even on my side. He came over to me. I didn't even know that. He came over to me after I defeated other people. I defeated them all. You know what? What really we have to learn from this whole thing is the press. They ought to straighten out their act. Because we are the greatest country in the world, but we have room to get even greater. But with a fake press, with the media the way it is, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Have you considered taking any action against the whistleblower?
A whistleblower is not a whistleblower, it's a fake. And everybody knows, excuse me, everybody knows who the whistleblower is. And the whistleblower is a political operative. These gentlemen know it, he's a political operative. And frankly, the IG should have never brought this, because if he would have compared what the whistleblower said, if he would have compared it to what I said in the conversation, two conversations really, but to what I said in the conversation with the president, who I think is a terrific person of Ukraine, he would have said, well, wait a minute, the whistleblower said this. And that wasn't the conversation, because we have the transcribed conversation. And also, Shifty Schiff, he's a dishonest, he's a corrupt politician. When he imitated or tried to copy my conversation, he made up a conversation, went before Congress, and made up a phony conversation, just like he does every time he talks. He's a phony. He's a very dishonest, very corrupt politician. So instead of, and look, the big upset, as you folks know, was when I released the transcript. Because I don't like doing that, because you have to keep this very, very classified and confidential when you're speaking to heads of state. But I released it because Schiff and the whistleblower made up a phony deal. And I'll tell you what, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The press should be ashamed. You ought to end the witch hunt right now. I didn't say that. He's already done the right thing. Because the president, if you look, of Ukraine and his spokesman, the foreign minister, they put out, there was no pressure whatsoever, none whatsoever. And you knew that very well. But you're fake news, and you should be ashamed of yourselves, and you should change, because it's a very bad thing for our country. The Bidens is a whole different story. When you talk about corruption, when you have a guy that made no money, his father becomes vice president, and all of a sudden he's getting millions and millions of dollars from Ukraine, from China, from all of these countries. You just see two of them. This guy made nothing. He got thrown out of the Navy. He couldn't get a job. And then his father becomes vice president. And the press doesn't want to report it because the press is dishonest. So I think it's a disgrace. I think the whole thing with Biden is a disgrace. What else? Steve, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, we're looking at that. And, you know, the problem we have is you have Samsung. It's a great company, but it's a competitor of Apple, and it's not fair because we have a trade deal with Korea. We made a great trade deal with South Korea, but we have to treat Apple on a somewhat similar basis as we treat Samsung. Now, with all of that being said, we're doing very nicely with China, but I like it the way it is now. Because we're taking in millions and billions of dollars, and we're giving some of that money to farmers and others. But we are looking at Apple. What I wanted Apple to do from day one, from before I got elected, I said someday we're going to see Apple building plants in our country, not in China. And that's what's happening. It's all happening. It's all the American dream. Our country has never done better. It's doing better than it's ever done. Unemployment, the lowest levels. Numbers just came out today. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, the lowest they've ever had in the history of our country. So we're very happy. Thank you very much. Say it. So I can tell you this: China would much rather make a trade deal than I would, because I haven't wanted to do it yet. Because I don't think they're stepping up to the level that I want. I know, but you know, here's what I I say. Here's what I say. What do you know? I put in tariffs. Everyone said, oh, gee, you're taking in billions, hundreds of billions of dollars we will be taking in. And everybody said, oh, that's going to be bad for the economy. Well, as you just heard from Tim Cook, we have the strongest economy by far in the world. And we're taking in billions and billions of dollars. So we'll see what happens. We are dealing with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi. They're a great country, but we're a greater country than China. If I didn't win right now, China would be a bigger economy than the United States. Because I won, we picked up, reported on your network, $11 trillion in worth in value. And China's lost probably $25 trillion. We are much bigger than China right now, and we're going to keep it that way. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
We want to thank everybody for coming, and I turn it back to, one other thing. This morning we also announced a $1 billion investment, groundbreaking. Rebecca was there with me for this, for a 3 million square foot site in Boston, about 10 minutes or so away from here. So we view Boston as a very key place for the future of our company. It's the second largest site in the world for us, next to our home base. So, and I'm hoping for obviously more investments to come. Thank you very much.
So Tim was saying just a little while ago that he's starting this massive new development also in Texas, Austin. But he's also said something to me about the American economy. He said, you know, all over the world. I would say there's probably nobody that's more over the world than Africa. And what would you say about our economy compared to
We have the strongest economy in the world.
Strongest in the world. Congressman, please come over. You are our great congressman. And it's great to have you. I just see you in the audience here. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. So, if anyone has any questions, go ahead. Steve, go ahead. Ambassador Sondland's testimony. Well, I think it was fantastic. I think they have to end it now. He said there was no quid pro quo. The president did absolutely nothing wrong. You look at it, I guess you've seen me. I took down exactly what he said. He called and he said, he asked me, what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, as you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the President want? I want nothing. Okay? I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. There isn't too much, and this thing is over. So the President of the United States told this guy, there's no, I mean, the question I ask, and I just, so we have no due process, we can't have anything, and yet it's an embarrassment to our country. I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell all that he said, he asked me what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, as you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the president want? I want nothing. Okay? I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker called, and he said, he asked me, what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, as you know, of Ukraine, to do right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the President want? I want nothing. Okay? I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. And he said, he asked me, what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the President, as you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the President want? I want nothing. Okay? I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty stands up and he tells lies all day long, and even with that. So we have no due process. We can't have anything. And yet, not only did we win today, it's over. And some of the fair press, of which there isn't too much, said this thing is over. So the President of the United States told this guy who's the question I ask, and it's the same question that a number of the congressmen have asked, why didn't he put this statement into his opening remarks? It's the most important statement there are. For this country, for our country, to be playing this, we're opening up massive Apple plants. We have the greatest economy in the world. We have the greatest economy that we've ever had in the history of our country. We have the best unemployment numbers that we've ever had. But we have a fake press. We have a phony press. We don't have freedom of the press in this country. We have a phony press. They're dishonest. Most of them. We have some fine people, fine journalists and reporters and companies, but most of them are fake. It's phony. CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times. These are fake papers. They're fake press. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and they hurt our country. And to be honest with you, I think it's a great tribute to all of those people in swing states and all of those people in this country. We had an electoral college, as you know, Congressman, we had a landslide, 306 to 223. We had a landslide. They're trying to take it away because they can't do it fairly. But these are bad people. Nancy Pelosi is incompetent. She's got nothing done in Congress. And now with their big star witness, this was going to be their star witness. Now just so you know, I don't know him very well. He's the guy that got put there. He wasn't even on my side. He came over to me. I didn't even know that. He came over to me after I defeated other people. I defeated them all. You know what? What really we have to learn from this whole thing is the press. They ought to straighten out their act. Because we have the greatest country in the world, but we have room to get even greater. But with a fake press, with the media the way it is, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Have you considered taking any action against the whistleblower?
A whistleblower's not a whistleblower, it's a fake. And everybody knows, everybody knows who the whistleblower is. And the whistleblower is a political operative. These gentlemen know it. He's a political operative. And frankly, the IG should have never brought this, because if he would have compared what the whistleblower said, if he would have compared it to what I said in the conversation, two conversations really, but to what I said in the conversation with the president, who I think is a terrific person of Ukraine, he would have said, well, wait a minute, the whistleblower said this. And that wasn't the conversation, because we have the transcribed conversation. And also, Shifty Schiff, he's a dishonest, he's a corrupt politician. When he imitated or tried to copy my conversation, he didn't copy. He made up a conversation, went before Congress, and made up a phony conversation, just like he does every time he talks. He's a phony. He's a very dishonest, very corrupt politician. So instead of, and look, the big upset, as you folks know, was when I released the transcript. Because I don't like doing that, because you have to keep this very, very classified and confidential when you're speaking to heads of Schiff and the whistleblower made up a phony deal. And I'll tell you what, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The press should be ashamed. And they ought to end the witch hunt right now. I didn't say that. He's already done the right thing. Because the president, if you look, of Ukraine and his spokesman, the foreign minister, they put out, there was no pressure whatsoever, none whatsoever. And you knew that very well. You're fake news, and you should be ashamed of yourselves, and you should change, because it's a very bad thing for our country. The Bidens is a whole different story. When you talk about corruption, when you have a guy that made no money, his father becomes vice president, and all of a sudden he's getting millions and millions of dollars from Ukraine, from China, from all of these countries. You just see two of them. This guy made nothing. He got thrown out of the Navy. He couldn't get a job. And then his father becomes vice president. And the press doesn't want to report it because the press is dishonest. So I think it's a disgrace. I think the whole thing with Biden is a disgrace. Steve, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, we're looking at that. And, you know, the problem we have is you have Samsung. It's a great company, but it's a competitor of Apple, and it's not fair because we have a trade deal with Korea. We made a great trade deal with South Korea, but we have to treat Apple on a somewhat similar basis as we treat Samsung. Now, with all of that being said, we're doing very nicely with China, but I like it the way it is now. Because we're taking in millions and millions of dollars, and we're giving some of that money to farmers and others. But we are looking at Apple. What I wanted Apple to do from day one, from before I called and he said, he asked me, what should he do? I said, I want nothing. Then I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, as you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the President want? I want nothing. I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty Schiff, he stands up and he tells lies all day long. And he... Thank you, Mr. President. So, if anyone has any questions, go ahead. Steve, go ahead.
Thank you, Ambassador Sondland's testimony.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I think they have to end it now. He said there was no quid pro quo. The president did absolutely nothing wrong. You look at it, I guess you've seen me. I took down exactly what he said. He called and he said, he asked me what should he do? I said, I want nothing. And I repeated it, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Tell the president, you know, of Ukraine, to do the right thing. And then he finished off, he said, this is the final word from the President of the United States. So what did the president want? I want nothing. I want nothing. And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty Schiff, he stands up and tells lies all day long, and even with that. So we have no due process. We can't have anything. And yet, not only did we win today, it's over. And some of the fair press, of which there isn't too much, said this thing is over. So the President of the United States told this guy who's no, I mean, the question I ask, and it's the same question that a number of the congressmen have asked, why didn't he put this statement into his opening remarks? It's the most important statement there are. For this our country have the best unemployment numbers that we've ever had. But we have a fake press. We have a phony press. We don't have freedom of the press in this country. We have a phony press. They're dishonest, most of them. We have some fine people, fine journalists and reporters and companies, but most of them are fake and phony. CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, the Washington Post, New York Times. These are fake papers. They're fake press. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and they hurt our country. And to be honest with you, I think it's a great tribute to all of those people in swing states and all of those people in this country. We had an electoral college, as you know, Congressman, we had a landslide, 306 to 223. We had a landslide. And they're trying to take it away because they can't do it fairly. But these are bad people. Nancy Pelosi is incompetent. She's got nothing done in Congress, and now with their big star witness, this was going to be their star witness. Now, just so you know, I don't know him very well. He's the guy that got put there. He wasn't even on my side. He came over to me. I didn't even know that. He came over to me after I defeated other people. I defeated them all. You know what? What really we have to learn from this whole thing is the press. They ought to straighten out their act. We have the greatest country in the world, but we have room to get even greater. But with a fake press, with the media the way it is, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Have you considered taking any action against the whistleblower?
The whistleblower is not a whistleblower, it's a fake. And everybody knows, excuse me, everybody knows who the whistleblower is. And the whistleblower is a political operative. These gentlemen know it. He's a political operative. And frankly, the IG should have never brought this, because if he would have compared what the whistleblower said, if he would have compared it to what I said in the conversation, two conversations really, but to what I said in the conversation with that. So we have no due process, we can't have anything, and yet, not only did we win today, it's over. And some of the fair press, of which there isn't too much, said this thing is over. So the President of the United States told this guy, who's no, the question I ask, and it's the same question that a number of the congressmen have asked, why didn't he put this statement into his opening remarks? It's the most important statement there are. For this country, for our country, to be playing this, we're opening up massive Apple plants. We have the greatest economy in the world. We have the greatest economy that we've ever had in the history of our country. We have the best unemployment numbers that we've ever had. But we have a fake press. We have a phony press. We don't have freedom of the press in this country. We have a phony press. They're dishonest, most of them. We have some fine people, fine journalists and reporters and companies, but most of them are fake and phony. CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, the Washington Post, New York Times. These are fake papers. They're fake press. And they should be ashamed of themselves, and they hurt our country. And to be honest with you, I think it's a great tribute to all of those people in swing states and all of those people in this country. We had an electoral college, as you know, Congressman, we had a landslide, 306 to 223. We had a landslide. And they're trying to take it away because they can't do it fairly. But these are bad people. Nancy Pelosi is incompetent. She's got nothing done in Congress, and now with their big star witness, this was going to be their star witness. Now, just so you know, I don't know him very well. He's the guy that got put there. He wasn't even on my side. He came over to me. I didn't even know that. He came over to me after I defeated other people. I defeated them all. You know what? What really we have to learn from this whole thing is the press. They ought to straighten out their act. We have the greatest country in the world, but we have room to get even greater. But with a fake press, with the media the way it is, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Have you considered taking any action against the whistleblower?
The whistleblower is not a whistleblower, it's a fake. And everybody knows, everybody knows who the whistleblower is. And the whistleblower is a political operative. These gentlemen know it. He's a political operative. And frankly, the IG should have never brought this, because if he would have compared what the whistleblower said, he would have compared it to what I said in the conversation, two conversations really, but to what I said in the conversation with the president, who I think is a terrific person of Ukraine, he would have said, well, wait a minute, the whistleblower said this. And that wasn't the conversation because we have the transcribed conversation. And also, Shifty Schiff, he's a dishonest, he's a corrupt politician. When he imitated or tried to copy my conversation, he didn't copy. He made up a conversation, went before Congress, and made up a phony conversation, just like he does every time he talks. It's a phony. He's a very dishonest, very corrupt politician. So instead of, and look, the big upset, as you folks know, was when I released the transcript. Because I don't like doing that, because you have to keep this very, very classified and confidential when you're speaking to heads of state. But I released it because Schiff and the whistleblower made up a phony deal. And I'll tell you what, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The press should be ashamed. And they ought to end the witch hunt right now. I didn't say that. He's already done the right thing. Because the president, if you look, of Ukraine and his spokesman, the foreign minister, they put out, there was no pressure whatsoever, none whatsoever. And you knew that very well. But you're fake news and you should be ashamed of yourselves and you should change because it's a very bad thing for our country.
President, you can sign the Hong Kong bill.
The Bidens is a whole different story. When you talk about corruption, when you have a guy that made no money, his father becomes vice president, and all of a sudden he's getting millions and millions of dollars from Ukraine, from China, from all of these countries. You just see two of them. This guy made nothing. He got thrown out of the Navy. He couldn't get a job. And then his father becomes vice president. And the press doesn't want to report it because the press is dishonest. So I think it's a disgrace. I think the whole thing with Biden is a disgrace. What else? Steve, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, we're looking at that, and you know, the problem we have is you have Samsung. It's a great company, but it's a competitor of Apple, and it's not fair because we have a trade deal with Korea. We made a great trade deal with South Korea, but we have to treat Apple on a somewhat similar basis as we treat Samsung. Now, with all of that being said, we're doing very nicely with China, but I like it the way it is now because we're taking in billions. So I think it's a disgrace. I think the whole thing with Biden is a disgrace. What else? Steve, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, we're looking at that, and you know, the problem we have is you have Samsung. It's a great company, but it's a competitor of Apple, and it's not fair because we have a trade deal with Korea. We made a great trade deal with South Korea, but we have to treat Apple on a somewhat similar basis as we treat Samsung. Now, with all of that being said, we're doing very nicely with China, but I like it the way it is now because we're taking in billions and billions of dollars and we're giving some of that money to farmers and others. But we are looking at Apple. What I wanted Apple to do from day one, from before I got elected, I said someday we're going to see Apple building plants in our country, not in China. And that's what's happening. It's all happening. It's all the American dream. Our country has never done better. It's doing better than it's ever done. Unemployment, the lowest level. The numbers just came out today. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, the lowest they've ever had in the history of our country. So we're very happy. Thank you very much. Say it. So I can tell you this. China would much rather make a trade deal than I would. Because I haven't wanted to do it yet. Because I don't think they're stepping up to the level that I want. I know, but you know, here's what I say. Here's what I say. What do you know? I put in tariffs. Everyone said, oh, gee, you're taking in billions, hundreds of billions of dollars we will be taking in. And everybody said, oh, that's going to be bad for the economy. Well, as you just heard from Tim Cook, we have the strongest economy by far in the world. and we're taking in millions and millions of dollars. So we'll see what happens. We are dealing with China, have a great relationship with President Xi. They're a great country, but we're a greater country than China. If I didn't win right now, China would be a bigger economy than the United States. Because I won, we picked up, reported on your network, $11 trillion in worth in value. And China's lost probably $25 trillion. We are much bigger than China right now. And we're going to keep it that way. Thank you all. Thank you very much.